the comments. All right, we have the Health Committee, and it's the 20th of July, Monday, 2020. So the HESA, now Matt Genero is doing an outstanding job for the Conservatives, and also this Tamara Jansen, outstanding. Okay, watch the Stonewall.
So we have completed one motion. Mr. Genero, I will give you the floor to move your next motion, please. Mr. Genero.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and good to be back for another meeting here at HESA. I know this has probably got to be the hardest working committee we have out there, so appreciate everybody taking time on a Monday to join us. Do want to begin. We have three more motions to go, Mr. Chair. I do want to bring the next motion forward, and I'll read it here for you. Pursuant to Standing Order 108-1A, the committee send for the following documents to be provided by the government by May 3rd, 2020, by Monday, August 3rd, 2020, and that the documents be published publicly on the committee's website by Monday, August 10th, 2020. All documents, briefing notes, memorandums, and emails to, from, between Health Canada, the Public Health Agency, and the Privy Council Office related to the issuance of medical device establishment licenses, MDELs, between March 1st, 2020 and May 11th, 2020, including all documents, briefing notes, memorandums, and emails to, from, between Health Canada, the Public Health Agency of Canada, the Privy Council Office related to the recall of N95/KN95 masks. Now, Mr. Chair, again, we're trying to get to the bottom of some of the discussion in the government's response. I think all committees all members of the committee are interested in getting those responses. I'd be wondering if you'd be amenable, Mr. Chair. I know in the last meeting we passed the motion that amended the date of August 3rd to August 31st, and then we also amended the date August 10th to September 7th. I'd certainly be willing, if it's appropriate, to amend these so they're consistent with the last motion. Not sure if you need a unanimous consent or if you need another motion for that, but do want to just make you aware that that's certainly amenable on our side.
I would ask you to just make the change. We will consider it moved in that manner. So if you could just clarify. I mean, maybe just reread the motion with the dates as you now propose them would be helpful.
How about I read the first paragraph, Mr. Chair?
Absolutely.
Okay, it's only impacting the first paragraph. Okay, pursuant to Standing Order 108-1A, the committee sent for the following documents to be provided by the government by August 31st, 2020, and that documents be published on the committee's website by September 7th, 2020.
Okay, thank you. So moved. So is there any discussion on this motion? I see Mr. Fisher. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and just going to see if what Mr. Genero thinks of this. I think that this motion is almost identical to a motion that was passed by OGO. And the documents are already being produced for August 10th. So I'm wondering if Mr. Genero would consider withdrawing this motion because of this overlap. And I'll read this for the benefit of Matt here and the rest of the committee.
All right, they're just slowing down the process. They're saying that the emails do not need to be looked at. Obviously, that's where all the information is, emails.
I'll let him interject if he wishes to respond.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I appreciate Mr. Fisher's attempt to, I guess, speed this up. Do just want to point to previously we've discussed the importance of our committee being separate from the OGO committee. The OGO, we don't control what the OGO committee does. They don't control what we do. Certainly, I think having more information from the OGO posted on our website would help. But at the end of the day, we want this to be as comprehensive report as possible and not simply just say in a line oh, by the way, go look at the website regarding OGO. So, I would, I think we agree on some of the perhaps the wording there, but I still think it's the due diligence of our committee to go and make sure that we pass our own motions to this regard. We don't know what OGO will intend to do with the rest of their information or what type of report they do. So, I appreciate the spirit of it all. Huge burden on the public service, because if they're doing this work already with OGO, then it should be simple. It should be able to provide a lot of that information to us. But again, based on those 2 points, I think our motion is slightly different.
Thank you, Mr. General. Mr. Fisher, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I understand where MP General is coming from. I think that it would be another task for public servants then to collect all of these documents, other than being given the opportunity to just go and find out what was presented to OGO and put on the OGO website. It's not a hill I want to die on here, but it does seem like less efficient way to get the exact same documents. So I do think that there's value in allowing OGO to do that, and then finding out what is presented to OGO. And I don't see any gaps. Mr. Davies asked if there were any gaps. I don't see any gaps. In fact, the motion that Ms. Block moved was so fulsome that I think it covers this and more. So I know it's not appropriate to move a motion.
I personally think the emails is where you're going to see influence created, and that's part of the reason I think they don't want it. They don't want this looked at from every angle, because there's probably idiosyncrasies in types of speech and mannerism. And now here's MP Jansen, who's unknown to me till today.
They're good bits of information. We need to have those kinds of information to truly understand what happened, why science supposedly changed, and so forth. And the only way to do that is to have, an honest opening of the books. Lay it all out there. Let people understand why the science changed. Let them see what happened. Why are we suddenly told we need to wear masks? I'm just absolutely stunned at the anger in the community right now at people like us. We continue to not show truth. We continue to cover stuff up. And if we cover it up and we at the same time are destroying our economy, you can imagine that people are going to continue to be very upset. So I'm begging you, we need to show that we're going to be fully transparent, as I understand was the obligation of this Liberal government, was to become fully transparent. And if we don't, we will lose the trust of Canadians. So I'm against this amendment.
Thank you, Ms. Jansen. Mr. Pawlowski, Dr. Pawlowski, please go ahead.
Thank you. Well, first of all, let me say I agree with a lot of what Mr. Davies said about transparency. Having worked a lot of years in a lot of developing countries, I certainly note that the world is inundated with Canadians who go to other countries who preach the importance of transparency and accountability, and yet you come back to Canada and sometimes we don't seem to have the same enthusiasm for transparency and accountability in our own country. So I fully.
All right, leave your comments down below. Do you think that the emails should be included as brought forward by Matt General? And second, do you think the Liberals will let this motion pass? There's a few others today. Like you said, this goes on till 6, so stay tuned. We'll give a recap for the end.
And I don't believe that any of this can be delegated to someone else. So back to the earlier points, is we're taking people away from an important job, and that job is to deal with and to respond to what the community needs today. So I would be supporting removing emails. And again, it's because I believe that the briefing notes and the memorandums will satisfy the information that we're seeking, and that it does not in any way infringe on the transparency. And in fact, I think it's a matter that would undermine the trust of government to suggest that there's things there that shouldn't be brought forward. I believe that the information.
Okay.
Sorry, I had it up. I find it very interesting that Mr. Kellaway and Mr. Van Bynen suggest that there's nothing in them in the emails to hide, and Mr. Pawlowski says that we might embarrass provinces from what's written in those emails. we're not about embarrassing people. We're not about trying to cover up for anybody. And I think that, especially with Dr. Pawlowski's statement, that there could be things in there that the provinces have made mistakes on. It's a very important thing to have those emails. I mean, if we want to protect Canadians going into the fall, going into winter, we need to know what went right, and we need to know what went wrong. And to be not transparent, and I know we all want to be transparent, we all want to be efficient, and the way to do that is to allow these emails, and especially with Dr. Pawlowski's suggestion that there are provinces that have made mistakes, and that will be evident in the emails.
Exasperated by the Liberals' lack of transparency, this looks like a corrupt country.